Hello, beautiful people. It is David Ault. Thank you so much for tuning in for another opportunity to come together for the gathering. Just a couple of days ago, the crew of the documentary of my nonprofit came from all points across the country to reconvene in the house to film one little tiny scene, one little wrap up, if you will, for the film. And it was good to see everybody. And the director did not tell me what those questions would be. The hope is that that's what he wants to use as the close of the film. And as they got all settled up again, and we were able to get reacquainted and see everybody once again, it's like, what is he going to ask me? And one of the questions was about what's going to happen in India, referring to the fact that in Bodh Gaya, one of our schools, also where our administrator, his family, who are like our family now, live in a slum area in Bodh Gaya. We now know that by the year 2030, that's not far away, all of that will be bulldozed down. It is a part of UNESCO and other foreign entities and other entities coming in to reestablish that whole area as an expansion project because it is right next to the Mahabodhi temple, which is where the Bodhi tree is, the famous Bodhi tree where the Buddha gained enlightenment. And my administrator and his family have lived there right next door to that for multiple generations. And that village, that little subset of inhabitants, numbers around 6,000. So it's a relocating 6,000 families. And we now know that that's going to happen by 2030, if not sooner. So the question was, what are you going to do? And I kind of threw my hands in the air and I said, it's new information and we really don't know. We know that we have to do something, and there are already intentions and tasks and projects in motion to address that. How that will come to be, we don't know. We get to practice once again, giving up the how. So we have this land in Bodh Gaya that has been given to us by our administrator's family. So it makes perfect sense that the migration of where the family will live, where the school will wind up, as well as a center for the intention for work for all of the female graduates through our program to come. So kind of like a call center, but really a multi-facility where they can be contractors for all different types of skills based upon what they've gone through in our programs. So it's a beautiful, wonderful idea that didn't have an end date, and now it does. Not all of that will most likely be completed by 2030. So that's why some wonderful minds met me in India when we were there for the film to discuss logistics and next steps and architectural design and soil testing and getting and understanding the ropes of local government and what needs to happen in order to move forward with this project. Because it's going to be like a little storefront for the village mothers, the mothers of our children, to be able to have a place to work in or display the many things that they are able to create through the gifts of sewing machines and other creative endeavors for them to create their own autonomy. Housing for the family, the administrator, my second family now, and the school, where the school will have to migrate, and then this center for the female students and others to come and be able to call that their workplace. And still be able to get home that doesn't disrupt their culture. It's a big project. It's a beautiful idea that was all kind of floating up here, and now it's like here. And the question that he asked me was, what are you going to do? And as we talked about that, and I explained that this is kind of typical of how life works. Sometimes when the heat isn't turned up, if in the human experience of a timeline, if all of the sudden the factor of urgency or a deadline isn't introduced, it can sort of live in this ambiguousness and nothing really ever get done. Have you ever noticed a lot of ideas are like that? People got tons of ideas, but they always seem to waft and linger in this land of ambiguity. And even though we had this vision of what this would look like, we hadn't really planned or thought that it would happen or be needed to move forward financially and all of the other things in order to begin this process. Um, and so what I said in the film was is that actually it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing when the heat gets turned up because that's where resource follows commitment. And by that, I mean that when you are fully committed to something, when you pull the trigger and you say yes, very rarely does that mean when we say yes to something that we have all the ins and the means and the hows completed within the framework of moving forward. It means that we're on board. We give ourselves, we say yes to this thing. And then and only then does the magic of resource begin to trickle in and find its way. Um, Resource follows commitment. And it was funny and humorous and sweet to watch all the crew members' faces light up when I said that phrase, that resource follows commitment. And I said, oh, yeah, that's been around a long time. In fact, that's kind of been my go-to practice just to navigate life. You could say that that's kind of how faith operates. Um, and I was thinking more not just about that, but all these other things that are going on. You're probably familiar with the word attrition. So if you are a leader of something or you are involved in any kind of group management or building something like a business or a service, you will notice that there are times when there's this sort of natural attrition, meaning that people come, but then they fall off. Support happens and then the support falls off. And attrition is, I look at it as the ebb within the equation of ebb and flow. And so if I were to fear the attrition and only focus on the attrition, I would be literally turning my energy, my back towards all things flow. And attrition then becomes a teacher. It becomes an exhale. It becomes a time where we invite in all of the ways and the means and the hows that are sitting in the parking lot of, I don't know. And as we looked at attrition within just the nonprofit of Kaleidoscope Child Foundation and the donors that have come and the donors that have left, and where are we now, and what is the new established goal or marker that we would like to work towards in order to envision what that new flow would look like, just as we are looking for all of the personalities and skill and support that are going to come in with this bigger piece now that is sitting at the doorstep with the heat turned on, called the Bodh Gaya Project. You know, you start to see that that's just the nature of life, the comings and goings, the ebbs and the flows, the seeming absences and the unknowing and beautiful pouring in. And the whole idea with all of these appearances is to begin to monitor and look at the way in which we respond or react to those things. And if you looked at just attrition in and of itself, the falling away of something, I look at attrition or spiritual attrition, it all kind of works together as being this necessary and natural element to really turn up the heat, if you will, under ourselves, under our belief systems, to go, if nothing were ever to change, we could all be kind of languishing in this ambiguity because nothing is really becoming uncomfortable. We are so familiar with and so used to a status quo that we we don't like disruption. We don't like change. We don't like anything that differs from this sort of, ooh, this is natural. I can do this with my eyes shut kind of thing. But that isn't the nature of life. That's not the nature of growth or cycle or ebb or flow. It is natural for things to recede, to ebb. And it's a really good litmus test for us to be able to look at, what do I believe in? Have I been operating all this time with shallow roots? And if so, if there's a part of me that has even remotely been sincere about being available, wanting to grow, or attesting to a principle, subscribing to something, and yet here is my opportunity to do that. And at the first sign of something uncomfortable, I want to just freak out and grab onto what was, then chances are I have been existing with some very shallow roots. And I like to think that you are so loved. I am so loved by the indescribable, that it not only wants more of us and for us and through us and as us, but it demands it. And in the demandment of us to fully own, fully breathe in and accept that immense divinity, that pure essence that we are, that there's going to be this beautiful occurring arrival of attrition and loss to say, hey, let's cultivate some deep roots here. Let's not become so risk adverse or so cushioned in old ways that we discard our opportunity to surrender, to strengthen the muscle of our compassion, to be okay to live in the uncertainty, and to put one foot forward, but to make sure that each step is filled with intentionality, that is filled with a deeper knowing that all things truly are and have been working for good, because good is, by its very nature, the only true reality. So how can it not work for my good? And so I hope that wherever you are as you listen to this and you are experiencing attrition and you are experiencing loss and you are experiencing evaporation of things that were once familiar, that you pause for a moment and go, this too is good. This too is for me. And the loving phrase from Emma Curtis Hopkins is that this too is good, this too is for me, and I demand. I make a beautiful demandment upon that which is creation itself to show me, to show me, to cleanse my eyes so that I can see the good in it. My friend, the good has not gone away. The good cannot go away. That which is power and beauty and meticulousness does not evaporate by seeming world personality and events. Attrition is normal. Cherish this time. Cherish anything that seems like a seeming loss, and take a deep breath and understand that the vitality of what is occurring in what you might call an ebb is equal to, if not more, strong and vibrant and alive than when the flow is here. Don't miss that. Don't miss out on the growth and the beautiful hands that come and redirect our focus and say, don't forget who you are. Don't forget who you are. Blessings.